It is what it is. Then Kayla McBride has a bite. At this stage, by the time Kayla McBride's here, Lexie Hull's nowhere near, and then she clocks her in the face with an elbow. Like, that's not trying to get away. I'm sorry. Like, she'd already kind of pushed her off, and then she stopped. She pushed her off, and then was like, oh, she's behind me. Bam! Like, that is a no question, no doubt about it. Like, if you look at this here. So, Lexie's going for the rebound. Lexie fouls her here. It is what it is. And at this stage, Kayla...
The Minnesota Lynx secured a decisive victory in yesterday's matchup against the Indiana Fever. Minnesota maintained control throughout most of the contest, building a substantial 15-point advantage. While Indiana managed to establish a 10-point lead early in the game, this lead was predictably short-lived. The Fever's early momentum quickly dissipated, and the Lynx's superior consistency proved decisive. Minnesota's reliability and steady performance make them extremely difficult to defeat unless they experience an extraordinary shooting drought, similar to what occurred during the Commissioner's Cup final when they missed numerous open shots. However, the game featured a controversial incident that raised serious questions about officiating standards.
Here it is what it is. And at this stage, Kayla McBride has already gotten away from Lexie Hull. Lexie's pulled her hands away. It's over. And then she just clocks her in the face with an elbow. How did the referees see this and not deem it an ejection? Like, how? I understand not seeing it in real time. I understand calling it what you call in real time. How is this not an ejection? And by the way, thank God Lexie Hull's flexible. Look at how she goes down on her left knee. Like, she could have tore her knee ligament there. But you can have that.
During a rebounding sequence, Kayla McBride secured possession while Lexie Hull attempted to reach around for the ball. Hull's contact with McBride resulted in a foul call, which was appropriate given the circumstances. The situation escalated dramatically after McBride had already separated herself from Hull's grasp. Video footage reveals that McBride had successfully pulled away from Hull, who had released her hold completely. At this point, the foul had been called and the play was effectively over. Despite being in full control and having created distance from Hull, McBride suddenly delivered a forceful elbow strike directly to Hull's face.
Well, that can happen with every call. How was this not an ejection? This is the most obvious ejection I think I've ever seen. You can't just midway through clock someone in the face with an elbow when you're in complete control. It's one thing if it's in like the heat of the game or two players are tangled. She'd already gotten away from the tangle. Realistically, Lexie fouled her. She fouled Lexie in order to get Lexie off, but Lexie's fouls first, so it is what it is. But then, when it's all done, she just swung it blind, even if she didn't...
This action appeared deliberate and occurred well after any legitimate basketball movement would have been necessary. The impact was severe enough that Hull could have sustained a broken nose. Additionally, Hull's awkward landing on her left knee created potential for serious ligament damage. The combination of the facial contact and dangerous fall made this incident particularly concerning from a player's safety perspective. What makes this situation even more troubling is the officials' response. Despite having the opportunity to review the play, the referees failed to issue an ejection.
Intent to clock her in the nose with an elbow. She swung a blind elbow, which is even more dangerous. The most favorite way of looking at this is that it was a blind elbow. Acting like Lexie wasn't holding her. She let it. What does, like, I'm sorry, what? That's literally like saying, oh, you know, you held me on defense, so I hit you with a, you held me on defense, so I hit you with an uppercut. Like, are people this dumb? Are people this dumb? Lexie Hull fouled her, the referee called the foul.
This represents one of the most clear-cut ejection scenarios imaginable. A player delivering an intentional elbow to an opponent's face during a dead ball situation when no basketball play was occurring. The incident highlights ongoing issues with officiating consistency in women's basketball. Some argue that because Hull had initially fouled McBride, the retaliatory elbow was somehow justified. This reasoning is fundamentally flawed and dangerous. Once the officials call a foul, the play is dead and any subsequent contact is completely unacceptable. Allowing such behavior based on prior contact would essentially legalize vigilante justice on the basketball court.
He called the foul. Lexie had let go. She had let go of Kayla McBride, and Kayla McBride just clocked her in the face with an elbow. And she could have broke her nose. Like, is this the real world we're living in? We know it's not. We know it's not. Like, sure, it's the real world. Like, I'm seeing it every day. I get clipped out of context every single day because of my take. because of my consistent take that Paige Beckers has, the reason why I get so angry at Paige Beckers is Paige Beckers.
The league's current rulebook creates additional complications. During live ball situations, this type of contact would typically result in a flagrant foul. However, because this occurred during a dead ball, the officials can only assess either a technical foul or an ejection. Ironically, this rule structure means that deliberately striking someone when the play is dead receives less severe punishment than similar contact during active play, despite being arguably more egregious. Several concerning patterns emerge from this incident. The Fever roster appears to lack the physical presence and confrontational attitude necessary to deter such aggressive behavior.
Paige Beckers is Paige Beckers has the talent to be the best player in the WNBA, but she has no dog in her and doesn't use that talent to win. Like, I'm sorry, Paige Beckers has not been the reason why her team has won a close game since since Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese were in college. They lost every close game she played in college. Literally, in her last year in college, they lost UConn lost every single close game. And the talk was about Paige not showing up in the clutch. And the Dallas Wings are the least clutch team.
None of Hull's teammates immediately confronted McBride or defended their player, demonstrating what many perceive as excessive passivity. This soft approach may encourage opponents to continue testing boundaries through physical intimidation. The officiating inconsistency extends beyond this single play. Throughout the season, certain veteran players seem to receive preferential treatment, being allowed to engage in more aggressive behavior without consequence. Meanwhile, newer or less established players face stricter enforcement of the same rules. This double standard creates an unfair competitive environment and potentially dangerous situations.
Least clutch team in the NBA, or in the WNBA. They're the least clutch team in the WNBA. And what player is not shooting the ball? The player is not shooting the ball. But, yeah, supporting the wrong team. Your teammate is down. Y'all standing and acting shocked. What happened to dragging the head off that player? Do you really want Aaliyah Boston to take a suspension?
Historical examples reinforce these concerns about inconsistent officiating. Previous incidents involving hair pulling, excessive contact, and questionable flagrant fouls have been handled with varying degrees of severity depending on the players involved. Some veterans have accumulated multiple flagrant fouls while facing minimal consequences, while others receive harsh penalties for less severe infractions. The broader implications for player safety cannot be ignored. When officials fail to address obvious dangerous plays, they inadvertently encourage similar behavior throughout the league. This creates an environment where injuries become more likely and players feel compelled to take matters into their own hands rather than trusting official protection.
Do you really want Aaliyah Boston to take a suspension? Do you really want Natasha Howard to take a suspension? They already don't have enough players. You really want them to take a suspension? This is another great example of what I'm talking about. It's not the refs leading injuries, that they allow and encourage an environment where injuries are likely to occur. No universe where this is not at least flagrant one. The problem is they have this weird rule in the WNBA that once it's a dead ball, it can only be an ejection or a technical foul. So, like, if this was a live ball, if Lexie Hull hadn't fouled her, it's a flagrant one. But because it's a dead ball, it's a less severe punishment. Even though
the incident also exposes tactical weaknesses within the Fever organization. Their roster lacks players willing to engage in physical confrontation when teammates are targeted. This passivity extends to key players across the lineup, creating a culture where opponents feel comfortable taking liberties without fear of retaliation. Moving forward, the league must address these officiating inconsistencies and safety concerns. Clear standards must be established and consistently enforced regardless of player status or reputation. The current system's failure to protect players adequately could lead to more serious injuries and continued deterioration of competitive integrity.
The exact kind of game where you see exactly how badly this team needs Caitlin Clark back if they intend to be competitive. And we're now at a portion of the season where we start watching this. Look, we've been watching the standings for, a week now. And the playoffs are actually in real jeopardy right now.
The rulebook modification should prioritize player safety over technical distinctions between live and dead ball situations. Any intentional contact above shoulder level should trigger automatic review for potential ejection, regardless of when it occurs during the game sequence. This would eliminate the current loophole that allows more severe punishment for less dangerous plays. Teams must also evaluate their roster construction and culture to ensure adequate protection for their players. Successful organizations typically maintain players willing to defend teammates physically and psychologically. Without this deterrent effect, skilled but passive teams become targets for aggressive opponents seeking competitive advantages through intimidation.
Right now, if they're going to make a run, if they're going to be competitive, Caitlin Clark's got to come back soon, real soon. And even at that, you got to wonder, without Sophie, I mean, Lord knows what's going on. What is our training staff doing? No Chloe Bibby, out, left knee injury. I mean, it's like a mash unit out here. It really is.
Fan reactions to the incident reveal concerning attitudes about acceptable basketball conduct. Some supporters defended McBride's actions by citing Hull's initial foul, demonstrating a fundamental misunderstanding of sportsmanship and safety standards. This mentality normalizes dangerous behavior and undermines efforts to maintain competitive integrity. The long-term consequences of failing to address these issues extend beyond individual games or seasons. Player safety, competitive balance, and fan confidence in officiating all suffer when clear violations go unpunished. Establishing consistent enforcement standards would benefit all stakeholders and improve the overall quality of competition.
I mean, it's like a mash unit out here. It really is. So let's start here. How about the only thing I'm going to show you from tonight is Kayla McBride damn near knocking Lexie Hull's face clean off her neck. Yeah. She gave her a little elbow. Boom. Look at that. My goodness. I mean, good God. This league is wild. It's wild. We'd have guys in the NBA.
The Indiana Fever delivered a disappointing performance that left fans questioning the team's direction. This contest showcased a squad that appeared completely disconnected and unprepared for battle. Rather than experiencing a dramatic third-quarter meltdown, the damage occurred early as the team fell behind by halftime. The squad managed to stay within striking distance during the opening period and partway through the second, but then the floodgates opened. The moment Nafisa Collier was confirmed active for Minnesota, alarm bells should have been ringing. This represented precisely the type of matchup that exposes how desperately Indiana requires Caitlin Clark's presence to remain competitive.
NBA squaring up over that. I mean, honestly, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. Let's make ourselves feel a little better. Caitlin Clark walking in for the game tonight, prior to it starting, right here. She's walking in. We know she was at shoot around. Indiana Fever Muse was, I guess, at the game, and
the season has reached a critical juncture where playoff positioning demands constant attention. The postseason picture has become genuinely concerning for this franchise. For any legitimate championship push to materialize, Clark must return immediately. Even then, questions linger about the roster's depth without key contributors. The medical staff's effectiveness continues drawing scrutiny. Chloe Bibby remains sidelined with a left knee problem, adding to what resembles a field hospital rather than a basketball roster.
Was, I guess, at the game, and there's Caitlin Clark walking in right there. I saw Caitlin Clark 22 today. That's awesome. That's awesome. So, to the game, the actual game. Good God. Collier cooked our asses tonight. 11 of 16, 68%. God almighty. 32 points. Stephanie White in all of her.
The evening's most memorable moment featured Kayla McBride delivering a vicious elbow that nearly separated Lexie Hull from consciousness. The contact was brutal and would have sparked confrontations in men's professional basketball. The physicality displayed in women's hoops continues reaching unprecedented levels. Before the debacle unfolded, Clark was spotted entering the arena. Her presence at shoot-around earlier generated optimism among supporters. Witnessing the superstar's arrival provided the lone bright spot of an otherwise forgettable evening.
Stephanie White in all of her infinite wisdom. I want to show you guys something. Now, keep in mind, Chloe Bibby didn't play. You see this? A minute and 49 seconds from the most athletic presence you've got on your team. You gave her 1 minute and 49 seconds. And it was towards the very end of the game for Michaela Timpson. What are we doing?
Examining the actual basketball, Collier absolutely torched Indiana's defense, shooting an exceptional 68% on 11 of 16 attempts while accumulating 32 points. She exposed every weakness in the Fever scheme. Head coach Stephanie White made puzzling decisions throughout. Despite lacking Bibby's services, the most athletic player available, Michaela Ownby, received merely 1 minute and 49 seconds of action. Garbage time minutes when the outcome was decided. Meanwhile, Bree Turner logged 12 minutes while contributing virtually nothing productive. The rotation choices appeared baffling.
What are we doing, Stephanie White? Exactly. I mean, you gave Bree Turner 12 minutes. She did exactly jack shit. Jack shit. And I don't know. It's so weird. I don't understand what's going on. We signed these players to the team off the street. Shea Petty walks into this lineup, gets 17 minutes, scores 16 points.
Shea Petty recently signed from obscurity, earned 17 minutes, and scored 16 points. However, established veteran Natasha Howard managed only 10 points, an inadequate output for someone considered a primary scoring option. Victories require Howard producing 18-20 points, while complementary players like Petty contribute their 16. Kelsey Mitchell deserves recognition for her effort. Playing 32 minutes while shooting 58% from the floor, she tallied 26 points in a commendable individual performance. Aaliyah Boston's struggles continue mounting.
But one of our supposed big players on this team, Natasha Howard, only scored 10. I mean, we can't beat anybody if that's what happens. We need Natasha Howard to score 18 or 20 points and Shea Petty to score 16 if we're going to beat a team like this. Kelsey Mitchell, much to her credit, great game. She had a great game. 32 minutes.
Recording 14 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists represents underwhelming production from someone with her capabilities. Since Clark's second injury, Boston has failed to meet expectations consistently. Without Clark orchestrating the offense and creating opportunities, Boston appears lost and ineffective. Following her career-best outing, Lexie Hull crashed back to earth, connecting on just 2 of 10 field goal attempts for 6 points. The performance served as a harsh reminder of consistency issues plaguing this roster. The injury report reads like a disaster novel with key contributors unavailable when needed most.